Hey guys, DibtheAwesome here to give you yet another Monster Legends Guides where we talk about monsters' moves, rune sets, partners, all that jazz. Today we are taking a look at Firca? Firca. Yeah, Firca. So like they say in the universe, if something is really good, that is once again made again. For example, Prince PC or, Prince Charmless, aka Prince Skillless, is basically the new Voltic, obviously, and to counter that balance in the world, it has to be something that's obviously really bad, right? So I'd like to introduce you guys to Rabbies 2.0. This is basically Rabbies, but even more risk than reward. Very small reward. Like if you looked at Rabbies and then you looked at this, you look like, dang, Rabbies is actually really, really good. like it makes Rabbies seem like god tier. Like when you look at this monster, and it's weird because she has some really fundamentally good competitive stuff like extra turn skills. But when you take the time to look at them, it just doesn't seem like a good idea to run them. Like, how do you make something that give stuff that's really, really good in competitive play and make it seem like it's the worst idea in the history of ideas? But yeah, this is Firca. She is part of the latest progression island, the Orc Island. Gotta say, really cool design, like Rabbies, and really bad competitive design, like Rabbies. Come on, this is the second monster that looks really cool, and the moves are just more risk than reward. But let's explain that. I should probably defend my reasoning of why this monster is just such a bad thing to run. But yeah, so power 3,454, a little bit under the gospel power, and that's actually really huge. Specifically because the base damage of its skills are relatively low. To have a really low base power to top that off with, it doesn't look too good. It doesn't look too good. I wish this was like gospel power. I just wished it. It's not too far from it. I just wished it. There's no reason for it to be that power, because the base moves aren't that high. There's no reason for it. But it is what it is. So the power, this is a damage dealing power, but it's not as good as it doesn't have the gospel powers. What I mean, it's not going to do as much damage as other damage dealers. Power life. I almost said power again. Life 31,667. This thing can take a relatively high beating. However, this is completely nullified due to the fact, again, that's in its gameplay. It has high risk and low reward, so that means that it has something to contradict this nice, good life here, this literally 1k life. Absolutely it does. Its speed is 3,465. This is actually a really high speed in terms of fire monsters in the game. Usually when you get a fire damage dealer, it's usually slow. Historically speaking, if we look at all the past fire damage dealers, they're usually not even close to this speed. They're a little bit under the speed, in fact. I'd say 32 is a common speed for this, the damage dealing fire archetype we all know and love and or just get stale over. Fire damage dealers, that's just kind of their thing over. It's just really stale, and they have yet made another fire damage dealer. Trait Orc. Orc's really good because it is 25% chance not to get hit with the status effect, so not as good as tough, but slightly more better than hardened. That's all this really is. It's just a slightly better hardened. That's all it is. And being the fact we're getting double status effects, this is starting to look less and less appealing in terms of traits. It seems like tough seems to be the go-to now. If you don't have tough, harden, it could save you slightly, but in terms of situations where you're fighting double status proc, it doesn't do you any good. I'm not saying this thing is bad. I'm just saying if you're in a matchup where there's double deny, it's not going to save you. it probably won't save you. More than likely won't. Depends if that AoE is 50% chance. But for the most part, you'll probably get denied if it's double proc. It's in 3 books. I would like to say this monster is in 3 books. But all these books, there's also way better choices. If this was in the Winged book, I'd actually recommend it because the Winged book it's pretty bad. When you say nemesis monsters and really the angels are really the only thing worth using, that's something. That is something. Like it has to, the rest of the monsters in that archetype had to be so bad that this would look tempting. But this thing isn't in the Wayne book. It's in really good ones, and you'd never use it in any of the good ones because you'd rather use the good stuff in the good ones. But yeah, it's in 3 books. Very, in terms of usability, it does have high usage. However, again, high risk, no reward. So there's no, again, in terms of bringing it to Team War, it's not really good. It's not a good idea. Relics, double sword. That means if you're running stunning or freezing comps, run her with ice breaking greatsword. Give her that increased sustain, and she might not die from her things that make her really high risk. We'll get to that once we get to the thing. Berserker mode applies triple damage and precision to itself, removes all negative status effects, and deactivates all cooldowns from itself. Gives 100% stamina to itself. This seems like a really, really great ult on paper for any damage dealer. It just seems really, really good. Like, astronomically good. There's one problem with it, though. There's just one slight problem with it, though. It doesn't give her an extra turn. That's very, very critical for this monster specifically. It's very huge, in fact. It's very huge that this doesn't give her an extra turn. I think this is critical. This is kind of like Rabbies' skill, except it doesn't do a damage on a single enemy, and there's no death effect. It basically just buffs. It's a self-buff that gives pretty much everything. Cleans herself, triple damage precision, which sounds really amazing. This makes her next AoE like 90 damage. She does have 2 30 damage AoEs. Problem being, though, naturally 30 damage, so they're not even 35 damage AoEs. Like, for the most part, for a damage dealers, you usually want 35 damage AoEs, and it just doesn't have one, which is huge. This does give her an insane power boost, but again, we haven't talked about why it's not really, you can't really take advantage of this. And then when it does, it's not too effective. I'd say at most, when you use this skill, if she does get another turn in, she'll roast like anything not fire. She will kill, guaranteed, anything not fire. That's a guarantee to the T. She will kill it. Like, she will kill anything not, like, anything non-fire based. She will kill it. Applying triple damage, it just gives you so much damage, and you can probably buff her further, like with Cloud, and that's probably game. I will say if you run it with Cloud, I will say this is a guaranteed win. Essentially, you have a really good chance of winning at that point. Is there anything in skill groups 1? This is the only AoE, and I was gonna say this is a skill you should probably run, but it's not that useful. It's not that useful. It's too low of damage. Here's a self skill. Gives 100% stamina to itself. 50% chance of instantly killing itself. So it's not base damage. You don't take a percentage of your life than Rabbies. Instead, you have a chance of just killing yourself outright. So that's why I said this thing. No, this is why this thing is a higher risk than reward monster than Rabbies. When you look at Rabbies skills, he doesn't spontaneously die from him. He just takes a slight bit of damage. Honestly, with relics nowadays, I don't think it's too big of a deal that he takes damage, like self-damage. It's not too big of a deal. But with this monster, she instantly dies. There's no percent like life. If it's heads, you die. If it's tails, it's basically a coin flip. This doesn't give her any extra turns. Like, the skill doesn't give her an extra turn, and I don't know why. Especially since the fact she is killing herself. Like, she has a chance to spontaneously die for no reason. I do not recommend this skill. I just don't. Although it does give her all of her stamina back, you just gotta consider the fact you might just die from it. Alright. Dangerous recovery. 50% chance of healing all life by 100%. Removes all negative stats effects. 50% chance of instantly dying. Now, looking at this skill, I'd probably just say if you want to run one of these two, I just recommend Endless Stamina, because both of these have a high chance to kill yourself. Oh, it seems like it's set to 100% too. This might actually guarantee you dying. So if you want to choose between Endless Stamina or this, run this. But either way, it's not a good idea, because again, you have a half chance to live or die, and for the most part, you will probably just die using it. Unforgiving Axe. This is a 30 damage AoE that applies bleeding and it's fire based. It's two cooldown with 25 stamina. Both of these have the same damage, and except with a different AoE effect. This does burning, this does bleeding. You run both of these skills. As far as I'm concerned, these are her safest moves to use. Problem being, though, they're all low base damage. Like, the damage is too low. Like, for AoEs, I wish this was 35. If both of these were 35 damage AoEs, I wouldn't give it too much of a critique, but it's really not. I do love the cooldown rotation. I do like that. Bloodthirsty combo. This is a 20 damage single target skill. 10% chance of killing itself, 5% chance of applying bleed to one enemy. It's not... Gives one extra turn. Why does it cost 50 stamina? But yeah, this is a single target skill, 20 damage. You kill yourself instantly by 10%, and you bleed a random person, and you give yourself an extra turn. I don't know why the skill exists. This is a skill gives 3 skill. This is something I expect from 1. They need to tweak this. This thing doesn't seem to do... This doesn't seem to do all that much damage. Even though you have extra turn skills, it just doesn't seem to be enough. So all 3 of these are actually extra turn skills, but their base damage is so low and their stamina cost is so high you can never really combine them. Orc-Lint Barrage deals moderate fire damage, 15% chance of giving itself, gives an extra turn to itself. Self-explanatory, just do damage and you have a slight chance to kill yourself. This is on the same bow, except it has 55 damage. This is her burstiest extra turn skill, but it costs half of her stamina. So if you get stamina drained, like completely, and you're not earning a relic, that's huge. That is astronomically huge. All these skills cost a lot of stamina, and just a chance to instantly kill yourself. If there's ever a buff in the future that prevents you from instant dying, or instant death, that would be good. But, no, it's... Like I said, it's just a really high-risk monster. There's nothing really too in-depth I really need to talk about this. Just pick up the for orc giving axe. You see, I even like the puns here. I'm a man who likes puns, but oh god, there's just so many puns here. I was just so amazed on how the high the monster is supposed to represent a high risk, high reward. That's kind of what they went for, right? I could understand if this had really good base damage and really high consequences, but all it is consequences. There's no advantage to it. As a competitive player, when I see a monster, there's usually something that has a point to its playstyle. This thing has high tanking. This thing has high damage, but it has a low base life. There's usually a catch, right? There's usually a playstyle, right? With this, it's just a catch. And you didn't really catch anything. Like the fish was a lie. The cake was a lie. Everything was a lie. The car was a lie. The key was a lie. The test grade on your score from your high school math grade test was a lie. Everything was a lie, my boys and gals. Everything was a lie. But no, this just doesn't have... Really, in terms of it's really risky. So what I would do if I was forced to run this at gunpoint, like I just forced to run it, I would run. Here's what I'd run. I would run probably Unforgiving Orc Axe. Both of the AOE's, the special based AOE, and like the offensive axe combo. That's probably what I would run. I wouldn't ever actually run anything that instantly killed me, because I don't think that's too good for war. Or like you could run for Orcish Strike, but I don't ever see an advantage of running anything that could possibly kill you. Even though you can run, like I do say often in my videos, even with something with a consequence, there's usually a way to fix it. In this case, I guess you would bring a reviver, but the other monster you would have to bring is probably like a bow tie. You have to bring a bow tie, and you have to bring like probably like Sammy for the reviver. And then that could be restricted. That's very specific situation. Like it has to be that specific kind of war to really bring this monster. But that's the only safe way or time to really bring her. The runes I would personally run on her would be a strength rune, stamina, and a speed. Probably. That's probably the build I would run. I don't find her relatively any good anyway in terms of the current meta. At least where if you are dealing with rank 5 Agursuses, this thing won't do you any good. It will die right away. It's just not gonna help. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be able to deal with anything with Agursus. Although she can stack 2 DOTs against them, Agursus can still just sponge it with his shields, like with his single target shield and the chest plate, and just kind of laugh. You also can't proc anything from him. Let's say if it's just a 1v1 fight, you do have like a freezer and stun. Well, let's say it's like a 2v1, and you had a freezer and stunner left on your team. You can never really take advantage of your relics because he can't really be frozen or stunned. So, but yeah, genuinely speaking, you either want to pair this up with, I'd probably say Cloud, Rasigan, and or like other supports would be a reviver like Fatted. I think Fatted, to an extent, would actually work pretty well. I will say Fatted works. If you run this with Fatted, that will work. Fatted's a good pickup. Reason being, she's going to die anyway with her skill, so you might as well bring her back with triple damage and probably board wipe. That, and you can just clean the negative effect off her. So I think Fatted is also, again, a really safe option. Go with either Cloud, Rasigan, or Fatted for the support, or anything that really revives, or just make sure she doesn't really die. And then run like Sammy, or like, again, anything that brings people back without any consequences. I think that's the best way to play this monster. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know if you liked it or not. Any other comments or concerns you're worried about this monster, I'll answer them to the best of my competitive ability and knowledge. And yeah, that's pretty much it with this monster. Compared to this with the other legendary monster, the new one we're getting in terms of war spells is miles better. Like, there's so many things you can do with war spells, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, my boys and gals. But yeah, that's it for this video. I'm DibtheAwesome, and I'll catch you guys later.